Welcome back to the game between Lycodrake and Alittleblank. Lycodrake is on green-white counters aggro. Meanwhile, Alittleblank is on, I'm actually not sure what's called deck, honestly. Like an Azon deck, sort of. Performance Azon. Yeah, Parrot Pools, Performance, EHS, Azon. Anyway, it seems like both pairs have kept their opening hands. So Lycodrake is going to lead off with Unlikeless Heroes, their one drop. And then Alittleblank draws another land. And they're probably going to lead off with turn 1 Monkey Shines. No, they're going to play their fetch land tapped. I mean, like Lycodrake just gets to play a 2-drop, and Astral Horn Familiar is a pretty good 2-drop. So they swing in with Unlikeless Heroes. Astral Horn Menagerie ability is going to be active next turn, I think. Yeah, Lycodrake has the creature types in active Menagerie next turn. And Alittleblank will be staring down a very scary 5/4 attacker plus unlikely hero. Alittleblank really have a way to deal with the board right now. I guess Astral Horn Formula can be chumped, so not the worst thing in the world. I think Alittleblank probably just wants to play Jund this turn. Maybe hit something off it, and then they use it to either block Unlikeless Hero or chump Astral Horn Familiar and prevent 5 damage. Alittleblank fetches Forgotten Step. It seems like they're not gonna care about life total too much right now. And oh, so they fetch a forest, and I guess they're playing Performance this turn. And then I guess next turn they're going to fetch an island off Magmactor so that they stop taking damage from Forgotten Step. And they manage to flip Cosmic Cinco off Performance, which is not the best thing in the world because Performance is only going to be active until the end of your next turn, and you're never going to get an opportunity to use Cosmic Cinco before it goes away forever. And now Lycodrake has 3 mana, so they get to play a 2-drop and then probably activate the first ability on Unlikeless Heroes. Now they get to choose which 2-drop to play. Now they're going to activate heroes first. Like, they have to play a 2-drop before combat so that Astral Horn Familiar is active. They're just going to play out Warfield Excavator, which makes sense. It's Grave Hate, and it's a card that grows over time. So now Astral Horn sees 5 creature types and becomes a 5/4. The Lycodrake swings in for 7 on turn 3. And now, how is Alittleblank going to deal with this board? Because actually, Lycodrake just has lethal next turn if Alittleblank doesn't do anything. Well, the good news is Alittleblank top deck Parrot Pools, but I don't think that really does much right now, because they can play Parrot Pools, but they have nothing else to follow up with to make tokens. So yeah, they won't have to shock themselves to fetch with Magmactor. And I guess they're probably just going to EHS and Prey at this point, and hope that they find something that prevents them from dying next turn. Yep, so let's see what Alittleblank flips off EHS. It seems like Alittleblank found nothing off the EHS, so they're just going to concede. Going on to sideboarding, Lycodrake probably wants to bring in the Fox Viewers because Alittleblank has a lot of non-creature cards. Maybe also Sacrificial Bowl because that's Grave Hate, Anointed Cursebreaker, Exhausted Parrot Pools, and the Performances. Brutality also sort of does that, but I don't think Lycodrake really needs all of that. I think Brutality is probably just worse than Anointed Cursebreaker in this matchup. Meanwhile, on the Alittleblank side, they actually just don't have much. They have Scorch and Sheldrain's Rage, and that's probably it. Sheldrain's Rage isn't even that good against Lycodrake's deck because their creatures just grow out of range of Sheldrain's Rage really easily. But yeah, it seems like game 2 is starting. Lycodrake draws a hand with a 1-drop and some 2-drops, so they're definitely keeping this. Alittleblank gets a hand with 1 land plus, well, no, they have 2 lands, and some Parrot Pools, and the Sheldrain's Rage, and some more removal, so they're definitely keeping this too. And I think Alittleblank is going to try to land a turn 2 Parrot Pools and then use removal on Lycodrake's creatures and try to win off Parrot Pool triggers. Wait, Lycodrake mulliganed there. Maybe they thought they had too many lands? And yeah, they got a worse hand, and now they have to go down to 5. But this is a pretty good 5. They get turn 1 Rat, turn 2 Brothers Reunion, and they probably just bought him a land and another 1-drop. Maybe Breastcover Elf is good too. This isn't a bad 5, at least, because you have Brothers Reunion too, and a 1-drop. They're going to bottom their ever-gnawing Rat. I guess they're using Breastcover Elf as their 1-drop here because they'd rather have something that's harder to remove so that they can guarantee trigger Brothers Reunion's second chapter. Yeah, but too bad Breastcover Elf just gets wiped by Sheldrains. But maybe Alittleblank won't have untapped mana to Sheldrains before Brothers Reunion happens. Now Lycodrake's thinking about which land to bottom, I think. They probably should just bottom Sea Shrine because they need to play on curve right now. No, they're going to bottom Budding Companion. Why are they keeping 3 lands? I guess they're thinking about using Sea Shrine on Breastcover Elf or something. Well, they draw a second Brothers Union, so that's pretty good for them. So probably turn 1 Brush Cover Elf, turn 2 Brothers Union, turn 3 Seed Shrine, or something like that. So yeah, Brush Cover Elf comes down. Alittleblank draws another land, so not a bad draw. But Alittleblank's lands are all paying lands, so definitely looking for a second basic to stop taking so much damage from their own lands. And yeah, they play turn 2 Parrot Pools. Now Lycodrake gets a turn to do something. So well on Aspirant, not a bad draw. Now Lycodrake plays their second land and plays Brothers Union. Let's see what they flip off Brothers Union. I don't think Lycodrake has any hasters, so they won't be able to trigger the second chapter of Brothers Union on the same turn, like some other decks can. Actually, they get some pretty good flips. And I think, like, you can make an argument for any one of these guys here. I think Warfield Excavator and Budding Companion are probably the best options. You don't really have enough mana to use Anomalion right now. Dexter counter doesn't really help that much right now either. You're just gonna grab Budding Companion. And they swing with Brush Cover Elf. So, good news for Alittleblank is that Brush Cover Elf does die to Shaldrain's Rage right now, and that thing goes through Brush Cover Elf's ward. So the question here is Alittleblank going to waste their whole turn using Shaldrain's Rage to get rid of the Brush Cover Elf? I mean, I guess they can also Scourge or Solar Flare the elf and pay for its ward, and that would also make a bird token. Because if they used Shaldrain's Rage here, then they would wipe their own bird after it comes into play. No, they're going to play a second Parrot Pools. It seems like Alittleblank just isn't worried about Brothers Reunion going off, which feels a bit strange because, like, I definitely would have been trying to get rid of the Brush Cover Elf here before Lycodrake has an opportunity to grow to 2 toughness. Maybe Alittleblank's just banking on using Shaldrain's Rage kicked to use 3 damage to everything and wipe Lyco's board, but then also gets rid of all their own birds, so I'm not sure. Alittleblank's going to Scorch Face. That seems really strange. And then they're just going to pass with their... They're not even going to attack with their Hasty Bird. I have no idea what Alittleblank's doing right now, but maybe they have a really heads-up plan that I'm not aware of. Well, either way, Lycodrake plays Avatar the Natural. They're not going to play out their second Brothers Reunion for some reason, even though they can attack this turn and trigger both reunions again. That feels weird. I guess they want to get the counters onto Avatar the Natural from Budding Companion. Okay, yeah, I get what's happening. They're going to see trying the Budding Companion and put a counter onto it, and then Avatar also sees that and gets another counter, and then wait, no, that doesn't work either. They can't flip Budding Companion this turn, because they can't get to 3 counters, I think. They can only get to 2 counters, so... Well, I mean, I guess they still get to trigger Brothers Union again, so not a huge loss, but I feel like Lycodrake should have played the second Brothers Union just to flip more stuff. Or maybe they just want to build up one big thing so that their board doesn't die to Shaldrain's Rage. Actually, yeah, that makes total sense. They're playing Avatar of the Natural right now so that they can get Budding Companion out of Shaldrain's Rage range. And Avatar of the Natural too. And they don't want to lose too much stuff off one Shaldrain's Rage. Okay, and they get a pretty good selection yet again. And they're going to pick Astral Horn Familiar because Menagerie is active, so it's a 5/4 that doesn't die to Shaldrain's Rage, and also has a really annoying ward cost that prevents Alittleblank from dealing with it. Although, like, as a 5/4, it already just doesn't die to Alittleblank's removal very well. I don't know how Alittleblank's going to get out of this, because Shaldrain's Rage isn't going to wipe the board, and Alittleblank decides to trade the bird for the Brush Cover Elf. I feel like that's a bit too late for that, and a bit too low impact. Like, now you're dealing with these giant creatures that your removal spells don't one-shot. I guess you're just banking on Bounty of the Gardens getting you there. Unfortunately, Alittleblank doesn't draw a forced land, which would have made their bounty tokens start trading with stuff. I think they're kind of just dead in the water right now. Would the game have been different if Alittleblank decided to use Shaldrain's Rage instead that turn where they played Parrot Pools? Because that would have killed Brush Cover Elf, and then I guess you still have Budding Companion plus Avatar of the Natural to worry about, but at least you don't have to worry about Brothers Reunion triggering. So I guess all you really end up doing is you have the same board state, except your opponent is down an Astral Horn Familiar, and then you only have 1 Parrot Pool in play, so I guess you can't really deal with the board either. So yeah, maybe Alittleblank was just had no way to win this match, this game. And Alittleblank's just going to end their turn and probably trying to ambush some stuff with Bounty of the Gardens. At least with 2 Parrot Pools, Bounty also comes along with 2 bird tokens, so like they might be able to just chump stuff for a while. Unfortunately, Budding Companion is going to flip for Lycodrake, which Alittleblank can't really deal with either. Lycodrake plays their second brothers reunion. The Lycodrake flips Unlikeless Heroes, so not the best flip, but when you're this far ahead, you don't really care. And Unlikeless Heroes will be able to buff the Avatar of the Natural, because by activating an ability that puts counters on it. So now, does Lycodrake want to swing out, or do they want to activate Brothers Reunion? Well, they're going to play Wild Bond Aspirant before combat. They're just going to play out their entire hand first. And with Wild Bond Aspirant out, if Avatar of Natural gets a +1/+1 count, or actually that doesn't really do much. But Wild Bond Aspirant means that when Budding Companion attacks, actually doesn't mean much either, because Budding Companion's flip side already has Trample, I think. Yeah, it already has Trample. So Lycodrake's going to improve Aspirant now, and Alittleblank's going to Solar Flares the Aspirant. I don't think that really does much here. It makes 2 bird tokens, which can chump for a bit, but Lycodrake's most two important creatures have Trample. I think Lycodrake should just attack with Budding Companion and Avatar of the Natural to trigger the Brothers Reunions, which will put counters on both of those guys, and then flip another 2-drop, and then with that many counters, I think Lycodrake might just have lethal. So now, Budding Companion gets a counter from Experience, which also puts a counter on Avatar, and then Budding Companion loses all of its counters and transforms. And that's going to untap off Lyco's lands. Not that it really matters at this point. I guess you can activate Unlikeless Heroes off that. And now Lycodrake's going to let the Brothers Reunions triggers resolve. And then after that, they're going to... Yeah, so they're going to make or let the Brothers Reunions triggers put counters on stuff after Budding Companion flips, so that Budding Companion doesn't lose all of its counters from the Brothers Reunion. And Alittleblank just comes to concede because, yeah, they see the writing on the wall. They're not going to answer this board. So, yeah, Alittleblank didn't really do that much these 2 games. Lycodrake just always got ahead on board and killed Alittleblank in a very small number of turns.